We are absolutely, positively, indeed dealing with a repeat innovation offender, repeat Tech Vibe radio offender, repeat Tech Vibe One Mic stand offender. We have Adam Paulisick here with us today. Adam, welcome back, man.
Instigator, right? Some form or another.
So cool. So, we had our, as you would obviously very well know, we had our first Pittsburgh Civic Hackathon just last weekend, and you happen to be the winner of it. Go figure.
Yeah, well, I think it's much bigger than me. I think I was the chief cat herder in the process, and maybe one of the firms like others in town that were willing to really invest, engineers and designers, and kind of make it possible for those over the weekend to really hack for civic good, which is exciting. Right. So, yeah, certainly a lot of fun. Love hackathons. We were fortunate enough to come out on top, but there's actually a team of almost 30 people that came together and actually gave up Friday from about 5 o'clock through about Sunday at 8 or 9, including the after party by DJ Nate the Barber.
Exactly. So through this hack, we were so excited to put this is the first time we've ever done a hack, much less a virtual hackathon. We thought it worked out kind of well. And when I saw the results, I was like, well, of course, why would Adam and his team not take first place in this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth kind of getting everyone's head around what a hackathon is, because I don't know if everybody really has done one or heard about one, or maybe
play the ground rules and then talk about what you hacked up. Totally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, so at a broad level, I mean, there's lots of names for this. I've been at hackathons before, which kind of start on a Friday and kind of end on a Sunday, and they carry a bunch of different formats or focus, but it's really about inspiring and bringing out, designers, developers, and storytellers to ignite something really special over the weekend from really nothing, right? I mean, it's kind of come together at 5. At Sunday, you pitch, and sort of the time between that, although somewhat sleep deprived, is really about the purest form of entrepreneurship you can imagine. But it's not just entrepreneurs, right? And it's not just young or old or big or small, or it's really a broad range. This particular hackathon, obviously, for the audience benefit, was around civic good. So we saw incredible thought leaders and entrepreneurs pitch ideas about, digital summer camps and aggregating better delivery and courier services for locally manufactured good. And then, of course, we had a really big rallying cry around activating curbside parking for restaurants and retailers in the city.
Exactly. Hence the new company, or the new idea, PittsCurb.
That's right. Yeah, we are an official, non-functioning website for anyone who's listening to this, but you can go on your mobile phone or your website browser and get a good flavor for what it's like to go to PittsCurb.com.
Yep.
That's the consumer-facing experience that you would imagine placing a restaurant, let's say one of my personal favorites like Apteka, APTEKA, that would give you the opportunity to choose a time that you're going to swing by and grab that pickup directly, reserve that spot, get an SMS, and be able to communicate in a really safe and secure way with Apteka when you pull up to avoid human-human contact. So that's kind of the highest kind of curbside, no pun intended.
No, it's freaking cool
of what we're doing. But what's more important, actually, underneath that, even though we think there's some power in sort of using the curbside for the benefit of all, is that we found a way to activate pickup and takeout for direct ordering for these restaurants, because we're reading all kinds of stories now, which I'm not an expert on, but you're seeing 30 or 35% sometimes being taken out by some of these third-party delivery services.
Like the DoorDashes of the world and so forth, right?
That's right. Yeah. And I think, we talked to 65, 66 restaurants over the weekend, if you can imagine it, right? So iconic brands like Permane Brothers, born in 1933 out of a food cart, right? Some of the more downtown entries like the Deschamps Group, right? Round Corner Cantina, Fuel and Fuddle. I mean, Oakland, downtown, Lawrenceville, and beyond. Right. It's a really simple message. If your margin in a restaurant is 30%, right? You no longer have the operating base of running your 9 to 5 or your 5 to 10 or whatever it might be, then you can't give 100% of your margin to someone who created the demand. Now, when you already are paying for the labor and the teammates and the colleagues to kind of make that food amazing, it's not as much of a deal. It's sort of an icing on the cake moment. But simple message here, right, is connect people that want to order directly to those restaurants. But here's the exciting twist.
Okay.
Make those restaurants capable of actually reserving or pre-reserving those spots for their pickup customers, and potentially even becoming the payer of that parking directly to the city.
Whoa,
And so it
dude, that's
changes.
like boom, 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 man. You're on multiple levels here as usual, Adam. I like this.
Well, it's the credit of the city. I mean, listen, we're looking at a place where year over year we're down 90+% on parking revenue. That is not a reflection of the hardworking people at the city or the
No,
Pittsburgh
no.
Parking Authority. That's a reality of
Right.
people physically not moving out of their houses, which I think is a good thing. Although, unfortunately, I want to say something like 13% of the Pittsburgh budget is like parking taxes. I mean, that's a loosely remembered number, but
Yeah.
my idea here is really simple. Create a tool that allows the city to redraw and experiment in an inclusive and collaborative way on top of a visual map interface.
Right.
Deploy those now, pop-up parking spots all over the city in tight collaboration with the businesses and the community development corporations like Oakland Bid and Lawrenceville Corporation and Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership.
Okay.
Create a simple terminal where every order that comes into the restaurant only requires your name and order number at a time, and then the rest is facilitated by PittsCurb, right?
Well,
And so now we have this interesting three-way marketplace where the city is actually getting a significant uptick on their curb utilization in a really inclusive way to the businesses and the residents that are already vested. We're seeing more revenue on that side. We're seeing close collaboration where businesses for the first time ever in Pittsburgh could actually pay directly for the parking, and they're happy to do so if they're saving 30% on that delivery order.
exactly.
And now we have consumers that actually get a marketplace for direct orders and access to these restaurants and are now becoming more and more aware that they're not actually supporting local through some of these third-party sites and can do so through ordering directly on, the Permani Brothers website or ordering directly on Round Corner Cantina's website, right? These are things that are emerging and becoming more apparent now that there's such a fiscal focus on your relationship with small businesses.
Well, so this could also be used post-COVID, right? I mean, the idea of making it convenient that you're going to go pick something up that you're going to get a parking spot, or even if you're going to go there for dinner. Because I mean, I can tell you this right now. I will not go to Lawrenceville because I'm an old decrepit man who refuses to have to search around and park around someone's cones and chairs somewhere and wonder the whole night whether someone's jacking my car because I parked in their spot. And so for me, if I know I can go out and there's going to be a spot waiting for me because I want to go patronize a restaurant, I think that's kind of cool. But it's even better now.
Yeah, now I'll admit that the first phase of this is really around shrinking the amount of kind of cheap long-term parking.
Right. Absolutely.
Right, when it has a higher and better use for the people that are paying taxes, right? And that's both the businesses and the citizens, of Pittsburgh. The reality is that this is also a tool where the city might start to have conversations with maybe a private business that has a lot but has historically never thought about activating surge parking,
right, exactly.
on the weekends, right? I mean, so there's lots of creative opportunities there to think about it, but our focus is really about turnover, right? It's about how many people can we bring the churn economic and orders and pickups and curbside delivery for these small retailers, restaurants, and service providers, and then expand that idea, in a collaborative way between the cities, the CDCs, and the people that pay taxes.
So are you working with All Vision, who's mapped a ton of Pittsburgh curbage?
Because no, I haven't officially linked up with All Vision yet. But the exciting thing about the city is that actually a lot of this data is available.
They've already mapped tons and tons of the curbage in Pittsburgh.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, there's a real opportunity here, I think, to be kind of data agnostic. And I think the spirit of our tool is more like, how do we put the right paintbrush and canvas inside of the hands of the city people or the local businesses and the neighborhood districts or whoever it might be to kind of craft and paint the right picture. I think for us, that data is going to evolve, right? We're going to need data about where the fire hydrants are and the differently abled spots and the bus stops and all the normal things that keep the important infrastructure of our city working. Mm-hmm. But there's still going to be spots where historically in the center of, where Round Corner Cantina is and Coca Cafe and above it is Umami and a variety of other things, right? We need dedicated curbside access to create a commerce mode that can keep businesses alive.
So cool. So real fast, I know you're short on time, but who else was on your team and what is the future of this thing? Because I'm thinking there's something really good cooking here, man. That could become something pretty solid.
Yeah, so we, it's interesting. So we were lucky enough to have a team about 30. Admittedly, about 25 of those, kind of entrepreneurially minded engineers and designers who came from my day job. So we did a volunteer call and said, hey, who wants to hang out, whether you're in Dallas, Texas, or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for the weekend? We're not exactly sure what we're going to build, as you know, the way hackathons go, but, we think we want to solve something for pickup and curb and parking and and whatever it might be. And so about 25 of the engineers and designers came from Headstorm, which is my custom software and data pipeline shop.
Absolutely.
And then we were lucky enough to be joined by a gentleman by the name of Mitch Turk, who writes for Forbes around mobility and commuting. So
very cool.
If you don't know Mitch, you should check out his writing. He is always a provocateur around using cars and streets and autonomous vehicles in a different way.
Nice.
And then we had a number of other kind of great storytellers that kind of came in and out, people that were not less necessarily technical, but, knew a few people at restaurants and kind of created great conversations, or, were connected to neighborhood development, or they themselves owned a restaurant or a business and really brought this idea to life. Now, and, going forward, I mean, we're going to put our money where our mouth is as a small business as well in Pittsburgh. I mean, I think a big part of this is, in a civic hackathon is not just, pretty wireframes and pictures. So, Headstorm is prepared to invest a couple $100,000 of engineering time to kind of deadlift this.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, that's significant right there. That's ridiculous.
It is, but I mean, here's the deal, Jonathan, right? I mean, we are all talking about this problem. Like, I don't know about you, but like small business is the lifeblood of Pittsburgh, right? I turn around every corner and see a restaurant, a retailer, a craftsperson, a tradesperson, a service provider that is at the center of my stories, my evenings, my memories, like everything I want to see here in the next generation. And so if we're not willing to fight for the very literal fabric of our neighborhoods, then like, what are we willing to invest in here?
You're the best, dude. That's why we're glad you're here in Pittsburgh doing what you're doing. Simple as that, Adam. So glad you took the time. Congratulations on winning the hack with PittsCurb. Keep doing it, man. Just keep doing it. I love it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have an update in just a couple of weeks. Some really exciting stuff is already brewing, thanks to the support and dialogue between the city, the county, the Pittsburgh Parking Authority. Wow. People are really rallying around this simple and clear idea, which is let's get behind these small businesses. Let's create space for them to operate the way we need to, and let's not make Pittsburgh the future of everybody that once was, right?
Exactly right, man. I love it. Thank you so much. You're the best.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it, Jonathan. Talk to you soon.